Hi, I'm Adam Levy, and I'm a songwriter who's been doing this for, 25 years or so. I'm probably best known for being in a band called the Honeydogs for close to 20 years. I've chosen, a handful of songs here to kind of talk about my process as a songwriter. And I feel like I never want to write the same song twice. So one thing that's really important for me is to always sort of push myself either on piano or guitar to create different feels and rhythms and subject matter. I probably haven't written a song about the same thing twice, not that I can remember. And I started out as a songwriter writing primarily what I'd say most young songwriters do, which are kind of confessional songs about love and missing people and heartbreak and all of that. And after a few years of that, I kind of realized a lot of other people do it better than I do. And it started to feel a little cliche to write songs about myself. And I started trying to think about other ways to tell stories. I think in songwriting, we kind of expect the songwriter to talk about their own experiences. We look towards songwriters as folks that are revealing like their therapy process. How did they solve their problems? And I thought, there's a few songwriters I've really admired who actually have spent a lot of time writing songs about other people and using the song as a way to explore what it's like to imagine being somebody else rather than just talking about your own experiences. And I went through a lot of that, and I wrote a concept record called 10,000 Years, and involved in a lot of sort of political history stuff. I was a social worker, and those things kind of entered in my songwriting for a while. And after about 10 years of that, I decided maybe it's time for me to try to write love songs again or take a stab at it. And the first offering that I had a couple of years ago was a song called Better Word, which is, I guess, kind of a meta song about love songs and about the fact that the word love is such an overused cliche expression. We love everything. We love potato chips. We love our parents. We love skiing, whatever. But it doesn't really convey the sort of erotic or just pure parental experience sometimes that we want to. So I wrote this song called Better Word. And I would just say, sort of starting off, I've been playing guitar for a long time, but I always want to learn new things. And sometimes when you learn something new, it becomes a vehicle for an actual song. And for me, this was doing some guitar picking that I'd never really done before. I'm a big fan of Nick Drake, who's a great guitarist, beautiful chord changes and great finger picking. And so I would say this song is sort of in spirit influenced by Nick Drake, and it's called Better Word. Back to the tamarind season, back to the golden age. Memories of love's lost wrap me in a user's haze. Closets in our skeleton, a body never forgets them. Things that cause you pain remain, except the blame was still unchanged. If it tastes like something desperate, then give it another name. If it's less than you expected, and more than you can take, all I know is we need a better word for love. Hatred reluctantly may be love's slave, but love is hatred's Siamese twin to the grave. Don Quixote whispers words to sweet Dulcinea. She pledges her love to him, but elopes with the night of mirrors. Shame begets shame, and lies beget lies, and the glimmer of humanity disappears from your eyes, and all I know is we need a better word for love. swaggers into Venus's blue flame. Thinks he can conquer her, but his death is in vain. The pure heart, bereft of sin, know the essence of its core. The rest of us search endlessly, sifting diamonds on the shore. Poets and philosophers through the ages found the key. But locked in some nameless basement, it remains a mystery. And all I know is we need a better word for love. All I know is we need a better word for love. Thanks. Let's see. For my next number, so I've been in the Honeydogs for a long time, but I've also tried to push myself in writing in different directions and collaborate with other people. It's nice to play in a band for roughly 20 years with a lot of the same people and getting to know them and their instincts about playing music, but I've also enjoyed starting new bands. It's sort of like being married and dating other people, which is awesome because you get the pleasure of this long-time companionship with your bandmates and the stimulation and excitement of new people. And I just started a group recently called And the Professors, which is a sort of orchestral rock project. Involves members of the Minnesota Opera Orchestra, string quartet and woodwinds and brass, as well as some really great rock musicians or folks that have been in hip-hop bands, members of Brother Ali's group and Dessa. And getting those people together gave me an opportunity to kind of think about maybe writing songs in a different way. Musically, I think I wrote with more chords because I was thinking of string arrangements. And the next song that I'm going to play, I would say sounds better with a full orchestra or with a really nice string quartet or octet the way we recorded it. But I think as you listen to kind of the way the chords and melody are moving, it has a sort of, I was thinking of movie scores and film scores when I wrote this. It's sort of a mood piece. The other thing about the song is, and I almost feel like I should say this after I play the song, but I'm just going to give away the punchline of the song is there is no rhyme in the song. It's a complete free verse experiment. So I wanted to write a song that gave the illusion through melody and everything that there's a rhyme scheme, but there's absolutely none. And it's a song about Minnesota. It's called Letwa de Nord. Whoa, I got to tune up though. Tuning is a great thing. That's another thing is playing with orchestral musicians. It's so unforgiving. If you're out of tune, you are out of luck. She was the star of the north. Letwa de Nord. She was a wolf, she was an icy road. Her flesh was the rarest morel. She whinnied like a loon. She was pregnant with history. A lady's slipper on a limestone riverbank. She cried the greatest river of joy, Mississippi. Springtime, she was a blooming prairie, lush fields, verdant valleys, swelter in summer, insects had a name. When she bore her young, the fields gave fruit. In the fall, she shed her bright clothes, blue winds from the four corners, and she cried the greatest river of joy, Mississippi. She cried the greatest river of joy, Mississippi. When she laid down, she covered us for months in a blanket of snow. And we cursed her name, yeah, we cursed her name, but we never moved south. She watched 38 hung in Mankato, 1 in Duluth, and she cried 10,000 lakes of tears. She watched thousands of her children go off to die in wars so far away. She cried the greatest river of woe, Mississippi. And she cried the greatest river of woe, Mississippi. She was a star of the North. Letwa de Nord. Okay. Thanks. So I told you I stopped writing love songs, and then recently I tried my hand at them again. And I had a terrible loss in the last 2 years. My son died, and it sort of made me examine my whole life and the tragedy of his death and suffering before his death, and sort of what I was going to do with my life. And I spent about a year where I couldn't write anything, which makes sense after a tragedy like that. You simply, everything feels trivial, and everything is eclipsed by that event. But I did start to write a little bit, and this song came out. It's called A Handful of Sand, and it's about, I was thinking about romantic love at some level, but I think I was thinking about love in general and the sort of boundlessness of love as a resource in our lives. How much I loved my son, how much I'll always love my son. But this idea that sometimes love sort of slips through our hands as tightly as we grip it. And the metaphor of, trying to grab a handful of sand just seemed very apropos. So I wrote this song called Handful of Sand. It's a path well traveled, yet we lose our way. Do the math, bowls of sugar and a gallon of heartbreak will make you stay. Parasols fail in an avalanche of mice and men's best laid plans. Love is a God's handful of sand. It's a star, like a snowflake melting in your hand. Troubles are daisies and gun barrels, lipstick on an atom bomb. Before it falls, parasols fail in an avalanche of mice and men's best laid plans. Love is a God's handful of sand. We can't turn back, so turn out there, enjoy the light before we fade tonight. Just stay a while in the mad garden playground of my mind. If you fall in love with an anchor, let go before you drown. Parasols fail in an avalanche of mice and men's best laid plans. Love is a God's handful of sand. Love is a God's handful of sand. Love is a God's handful of sand. Of sand. Thank you. Thank you. So, last song I'm going to play is a song just about missing somebody. And it was really a quick write as I was writing it. But it's one that, you know, sometimes you write something and it takes on a whole nother meaning after a period of time. And since I've lost my son, I can't think of anything but my son when I sing this song. And it's just a song about missing somebody. It's called Always a Long Time. 1,200,000 hours without you. Time seems to stand still. How in hell did I get through? Do you measure it by sunsets? Do you measure it by miles? Do you measure it by laughter? Do you measure it like a child? Doesn't matter how you measure. Without you, it's always a long time. She sits at the table, nursing a drink. For him, she's always waiting. He's got other plans that don't involve her. Meanwhile, he's unsure. Do you measure it by sunsets? Do you measure it by miles? Do you measure it by laughter? Do you measure it like a child? Doesn't matter how you measure. Without you, it's always a long time. Keys to the kingdom, messing with your head. Ricocheting crushes, bouncing off of our bed. Fourscore two more, hidden beneath the floorboards, waiting for evil to pass. Do you measure it by sunsets? Do you measure it by miles? Do you measure it by laughter? Do you measure it like a child? Doesn't matter how you measure. Without you, it's always, always, always a long time. Always a long time. Thank you. Thank you.
Love is all that I have to give, baby. Love is all that I have to give.